Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to one and all present here. I am Unnati Agarwal, a core member of AWS User Group Dehradun, and I am thrilled to welcome you to day 9 of our AWS Generative AI Bootcamp. As we have already completed most of our journey, it has been incredible. On July 16, we had an enlightening session where we learned about conversational AI and chatbots. Today, we promise to deliver even more value as we delve into the crucial topic of foundational model and large language model using Bedrock. Also, we will be announcing the best party rock apps in today's session. So stay tuned and engaged. Thank you all for joining us on day 9. Your presence here reflects a commitment to learning and exploring the cutting edge technologies in AWS and generative AI. Today, we are honored to have Ayyanar Jeyakrishnan with us. Ayyanar is an AWS community ML builder, speaker, blogger, mentor, and co organizer of AWS UG Bangalore. He is an AWS certified professional with expertise in generative AI, TOGEF, Azure, and GCP. His extensive experience and expertise will provide us with valuable insights into building advanced AI solutions. Today, we have an exciting agenda lined up. To kick off, he will begin with insightful discussions on these advanced techniques. Adding to it, we will learn how to utilize AWS tools effectively for building a generative AI Q&A chatbot with RAG architecture and deploying foundational model easily with AWS SageMaker. I request you all to stay engaged and participate actively throughout the session and secure a chance to win exciting rewards. Now, without any further ado, I request Mr. Ayyanar to address and start. Stage is all yours, sir. Let's get started.
Thanks, Unnati. Thanks, AWS UG Dehradun, for the exciting event. I saw you guys. This is the ninth session, right? So you are running this session to the last night session. I gone through those session. It's really exciting. People who would have joined all the night session, you would have learned the complete generative AI from the basics to the till what is the industry trend. Today, and let me introduce myself before starting. Okay. Let me know, guys, if you are able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen, Unnati?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today we are going to discuss about how to leverage SageMaker or the Bedrock to do the end-to-end model deployment. Okay. And thanks for the introduction. Just I want to give a quick update about me. I am I hold all the AWS certification, live certification. I have 13 plus 13 certification, and I'm AWS ML community builder, and I'm also the co-organizer for the AWS User Group Bangalore. I have around 19 years of IT experience with more than 50 plus industry certification, and I deeply committed to share my knowledge with the community members and aspiring technologists. And I have mentored more than 100 plus members, ranging from the students to the enterprise, people working in enterprise for the long, more than 15 plus years of experience. You can reach out to me on a top mate if you guys want to connect with me for any mentorship. And currently, I'm working as executive director and principal engineer at one of the largest financial organization. And as I mentioned, sharing is my passion. I frequently write a blog in my blog post, which is dataopslabs.com. And it is free blogs. People who are interested, feel free to go and subscribe this blog, as well as every month I'll share the newsletters on the multiple topics. I also post multiple videos on my YouTube channel, which is Data Ops Labs India. Okay, let me talk about the today's session at the high level. We are going to talk about what is FMOps, what is LLMOps, and why do we need this. And also, I want to touch upon the how to choose the foundation model for your use case, and I will touch upon RAG and agents. And I also going to have a few frequent demos where I will make sure that you guys are understanding from the basics till how we deploy the application, um, generative application to the production. Okay, let us understand the large language model journey. Since you guys already here, you would have definitely connected with generative AI in one or other form. You would have used the Bedrock, or you would have heard about the Bedrock, or you would have used some GPT architecture service which is provided by OpenAI, the ChatGPT, and you would have played around by prompting it. So how you start with the LLM journey? First, you start with the prompting. Example, you will ask some questions about, tell me about the history of India. It is a simple prompting you will give, and the large language model, which is trained the corpus of the data from the internet, will be able to give you the response. And in background, it will use a transformer architecture and generate one by one token with the best probable token of one after another. Okay. And then you would have given some example in a prompt. I like to be the India to be in this, the introduce India in this format: capital city and Indian heritage and list of states. If you are giving this as an example, as a few short example, it will give you in that particular format. Okay. And when selecting that foundation model, right? You have seen multiple models available on the internet. Okay, but we have a lot of challenges to select the foundation model. It can be a proprietary model, or it can be your open source model. Sometimes the parameter, what kind of parameters you can tune those models, those are all matters. We will see all those things in a demo. And the next option we say is all good. I want to connect with my internal data source. The data source can be a simple CSV file, or it can be a PDF file, or even it can be your enterprise data like your Salesforce data or Confluence data. Okay, so you will connect with your data and make sure your model will not hallucinate. Hallucination is nothing, it's not a wrong or the error in LLM. It is a feature of the LLM. That is how it is generate the token after token. With the RAG, we can avoid the hallucination, or we can give a least probable of avoiding giving the hallucination by grounding with your own data. So you select the model, you are playing with your model with the prompting, then you connect with your data source and you are gaining the insights, but still you feel like I'm not getting the response I wanted, then you can do the fine tuning. There are multiple techniques to do the fine tuning, like LoRa, QLoRa, performance of efficient fine tuning. There are multiple techniques. Okay, then you try to fine tune the base model. Not all the models are you can fine tune. That also one of the a feature of the foundation model. I'll explain you more on that. Then you find I went through all the journey, still I'm not able to solve all my business case. Then you will do the pre-train the model from the scratch. Pre-training the model from the scratch is a very expensive operation. That is why we expect you guys or anybody who is working on the GenAI to follow this journey rather than directly pre-training the model. Next comes the slide. What is FMOps? Okay, everybody would have heard about the word called DevOps. It's very simple. I'll make it very simple. Any technology you work, you may end up in having a people, and you need to have a set of process with this aligned to your organization, maybe enterprise or the startup. Then you have a technology. Okay, so how we can leverage everything to make it efficient. Okay, so previously we have only developing the software. Okay, so we are thinking about to efficiently deliver the development of the software. We came up with a technology of DevOps, where we have a continuous improvement and continuous coding, continuous development, continuous deployment. And it was really magic, and it really bring efficiency to the organization as well as value to the customer. So slowly they've taken that um, concept to the machine learning, as well as large language model. Okay, so what is why it is very challenge when come to the machine learning is in a software development we have a use case, we can build your code and we deploy the infrastructure. But when come to the large language model, we have to deal with the huge data sets if you want to train the model from the scratch or fine tune the model. And you need to integrate the service to the data, like a rack technique or anything. You need to integrate to service the data. And if you want to train the model from the scratch or fine tune the model from the scratch, you need a large compute. If you take any small software application, all you can do is you can deploy in a Kubernetes, or you can deploy in an instance, or you can deploy in a Fargate, but it is not the same case. Okay, then how do we version in our software? Okay, the reason I'm quoting software because most of them currently in a software industry, you would have gone through this of managing the source code in your version control, like a GitHub or GitLab. So, and if you build an artifact, you will store in a JFrog or any artifact repository. But when come to the model, right, the model size is going to be big. You need to have model registry. You need to manage the model version. Then, in case of any issues, you need to roll back the model to the previous version. Like how we in a DevOps, we follow the blue-green deployment. We follow the same practice here. And then comes to the model performance. And when come to the software, right, we will only worried about whether the application is the use case is solved properly. When let's take if a small web application, we will say whether the functionality is working fine and whether the latency, everything is taken care. When we come to the model, right, it is a three paradigm. All the rules apply, whatever in a software, it applies same thing in model. Then we have a model performance in consist of the latency and everything. Then comes the data drift. You would have trained the model, but over the period of time, if the data changes, the data drift will happen. Managing the model end to end, it's another big challenge. Same thing happen in LLMOps also. And third thing, guardrail. Okay. Here we are generating the content in a generative AI or the large language model. How are we going to apply guardrail on it? And we have multiple models available and we have multiple use case available. How are we evaluating our use case against which model? How are we going to evaluate? These are the challenges. But end of this call, I will make sure you have a better understanding and how to handle all those things. Okay, there is a clear code from our AWS. There is no one model rule them all. There is not one vendor model which work for all the use cases. That's why we have a family of models, family of offering from the Bedrock. Okay, you can talk about Amazon model, your TextLite, TextExpress. Okay, these are all very cost efficient model. Okay, and we have Anthropic, which is currently the best model available on the market. Claude 3.5 Sonnet that is also available in a Bedrock. And according to the industry benchmark, Cohere model, the multilingual model for the embedding is the industry best model. And we have a meta-based model, which is a Llama model, which is the best open source model available. Okay. Then Mistral model, which is really great for the better inference. Okay. Because it will work. It use a leverage a different architecture. It work perfectly for the your large use case with a bit low latency text generation. Then we have stability AI model, which is image model, which will generate the image. And we have two image models available, one from stability, and also we have from the Amazon model. Okay. And we also have a AI labs. It's really good to have a summarization, very good tool to do the summarization of the task. So there are all these families of models will coexist in the Bedrock for the real reason and because each use case the customer who is working in AWS, millions of customers using AWS who want to use the generative AI for their for their offerings, right? They prefer to use a different, they will come with a different use case. because if you are offering only one model, it will not solve all the problem. That's why Amazon Bedrock provide a flurry of models we can use according to our use case. Then, how do we select the model? We have 100 plus models available. We have models available from a SageMaker, Jumpstart also. I will touch upon this. So based on your identity case, how do we choose your model? Pick it wise. Okay. How do we choose a model? First, we need to identify a task. Are we going to have a QA? Are we going to build a bot? Are we going to do the text completion or summarization or image? So you first identify the model use case. Okay. And then you do the prompting. Use the AWS Playground to do the prompting. Then use the AWS prompt management. Whatever the prompt really works well for you, you document that prompt because you can reuse this prompt and share it with your team members where they can also use the prompt. Then evaluate the model. Now you have identified the use case, you identified the model by testing in a playground, and you documented your prompt. Then you can do the LL, you can evaluate the model. How is the metrics of the model? If you, let's say, take a summarization use case, how is it scoring against your ground truth data? Okay, bed score, we call it as a bed score or anything. Then we have to check the business value against the cost. As I mentioned, if you have a very low value of the low income from the tool which you are building, you no need to go for a high-fi model, which will outgrow the cost of what you are building your tool, right? So you find out against the speed, precision, and cost, whatever solves for your business value, select that model, which is your championship model. Okay. So this is very important because you cannot, for the simple use case, you cannot use the Claude 3.5 and it will create, which is expensive. It's really powerful, which is expensive. Okay. So you need to select your right use case for your model. Okay. As I mentioned, I'm going to switch between the demos and the session so you will have better understanding. This is the first session of the demo I want to do. So prompt management. So I'm in AWS Bedrock. If anybody, you are the first time you are logging in, you can go log into the AWS, go to the Bedrock, AWS Bedrock. You are in a Bedrock. Then I prefer to be on a North Virginia because most of the latest servers will be come to the North Virginia, but still you have other, um, you can select the other regions, but you need to check on the regions. Then come here. Go to the model access. First time if you're coming, enable the model access. You have to select which model you want. Okay. Modify model access. If let's say if you want to model access, click on this and give a next, you will get a model access. You will get an email because it is the marketplace. We are enabling the marketplace for this model from the marketplace. So once you enable the model, first thing you need to do is let's go to the playground. Okay. Select the model. Let me select Anthropic. Let me select, okay, this is the model which recently they updated. I not gotten access, but let me go with our old model, the Sonnet version 1, apply. So here I'm saying they already give you the uh, uh, pre-built prompt. So I'm trying, give me the best place to go for a vacation, beach vacation. Give me the top 5 best place to go for beach vacation. Just I'm running. So it's giving you the value. Okay, it says Bali, Maldives, Mexico, Hawaii, Fiji. Fantastic. It is generating. At the same way, you can change the temperature if you want the response to be innovative. Okay. And if you, okay, this is a playground, you can do it. Okay. And it will give you the information about what is the latency, how much token we have given as an input and how much token we are giving as output. Why that does matter is you will be charged against both. Okay, here it is a chat window. Same thing, you can select the model and do this one. So with the playground, you can do the same. I'm not touching on image model, but image model also same thing. It's not a big challenge. Okay, you can select your model. As I mentioned, we have two image model. You can select one of the model and give you the prompt, which will generate your image. So it is a text to image. The good thing with the Anthropic cloud file, right? You can upload any of your image. You can choose your file, any of the image, and you can ask a question on it. I wrote a wonderful blog on it. If anybody interested, please reach out to me. I can share you the blog, or you can go to the AWS community or my blocking portal. You can find those blog. Okay, so this is the first thing you need to know about the playground. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of models available. But what if these are the family of model available, but your company is saying these models are good? Can you find out some other model which working well for us in lagging phase? What can you do? You can go to the SageMaker, AWS SageMaker, and go to the Jumpstart. Click on the foundation model. Okay, let's take an example. You are in certain region. You want to the Falcon model to be available. You can click on the view model. Okay. And you can deploy this model using a single line of command. Okay. I will show you the model which you can deploy quickly. Falcon model is one of the model you can deploy. Falcon. Okay. Okay. This is a Falcon model. So come here. You find this model card. Okay. And one important thing is model card. How do we, this model card will give you the information on what are all the data set they have used to train this model. Okay. So it is developed by TAI and it is a license. It is Apache 2.0 license, so it's open source model. Okay, and it is trained on 1,500 billion token of refined web enhanced. So this is very important because if you are if the, when come to the talking about the responsible AI, everybody need to have a better understanding of what data it is used to train the model. Okay, so you can check on the model cards to train the model. Even if you're building a model from the scratch, right? You can use AWS model card to document all those information. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm coming here. You can click on view notebook. I will open a studio. Okay, it will take some time to open a studio, and you can use a jumpstart to do the single click deployment. Okay, then you can start consuming that model. That is one use case I want to show. Okay, now you did the prompting and tested your playground. Then comes the prompt management. So what is prompt management? Here I created one prompt. Okay, Blue Wave holidays. Okay, this is one of the restaurant. This is a draft I'm doing it. Okay, so here let me create a new version. Edit in prompt builder. Okay, so here I'm keeping a variable. Give me the different types of room available in a resort in Maldives. Okay, now by default, here I'm giving a variable as a hard rock. Okay, now I'm going to run. So programmatically using AWS SDK. Okay, see these are all the villas available. These are the type of villas available in a hot rock hotel. Okay, in the Maldives. So you can same thing. You can see Taj resorts. If you run this, it will give you something in different information. So you no need to type the prompt every time. Here I'm giving a simple example, but when come to the real time, you will have a different type of prompting, and you can have a multiple variables also. These are the type of rooms available in a Taj Resorts in Maldives. Okay, so this is about the prompt catalog, and you can version it if you want to change something. Let's say, okay, create a new version. Can edit in a prompt builder, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. You can keep it like that and save draft. So you will have a new version. Okay, or create a new version. It will create a new version. So this is about the prompt catalog. This is recently released on just a week back. Okay, so this is for the prompt catalog. The next demo I want to show you is model evaluation. Okay, now I have generated the model. There is a model evaluation. So I have created a model evaluation. Okay, this is the data set. I am doing the evaluation for summarization. How do I do the model evaluation? I can There is a multiple way. One is automatic. Another one is bring your own team, or you can have AWS will help you by providing a team. Create automatic evaluation. I will say 5. Then I'll give this is model evaluation job for summarization use case. Okay. Select the model provider. So here I'm going to select the candidate model, which is going to be a Claude Sonnet. I'm doing it. Then I'm selecting the use case, whether it is just a text generation or it is a text. I'm going to select the text summarization. Okay, here if you're selecting based on your selection of the use case, right, task type, the evaluation will change. Okay, if I'm selecting a text summarization, it will talk about accuracy, robustness, and toxicity. That is the toxicity. Okay, so then if you have your own prompt, we are talking about the prompt catalog, right? If you have your own prompt, you can bring your own prompt, or you can go with the gigaword dataset. I'll show you what is gigaword dataset. File and folder. If evolve. Okay, don't save. So this is a gigawatt data set. Okay, if you look at it in a deep manner, what does it do is it will take a document, and this is this is in a JSON line format. What is a JSON line format is? Every input has to be a JSON format. You are giving us input, and this is a summary document, and this is a IDX, or it has to be unique, so it will validate one by one line. So if you look at the JSON file, the last line has to be empty, 31. So good. Now we are using this as a data set, and it will give you the score. Let me check. I already ran the job. If you look at it, it is already I gave a data set, and it already ran the job, and you can find this data is stored here. Let me take the J data. It will give you the details in a JSON, again JSON format. All right, I have to download this one. Download. Okay, input data JSON, right? So I will come here to the file, open, sorry, open the file in a data set. Okay, so I just used for the purpose only 2 lines I given. Okay, and it will evaluate the response, and no, it is an input data. So under the LLM there is a job. Under this, it is using I use the Titan Express summarization use case, and you see the data set. It taken a data set, and this is the output. Sorry, I have taken a wrong file. The output is on this format. So I come here, look at the output and open. This is the output. So it is evaluating for accuracy. It is giving a score. And this is the prompt we have given as an input. Okay, the sun rises in the east and sets at the west. This is the prompt we have given. And we given a big summarization task. Okay, view word wrap, this word wrap, wrap. Okay, so you can see the sun, it is references response. This is a summarized output, and this is the prompt we have given. And it will, this is a model response, the candidate model response, and this will give you the score. This is a score for the accuracy. It is giving accuracy of 0.1. I have done against all the data once and I stored somewhere. I parsed it using a program, using FMOps evaluation. Okay, I will show you later on this. Okay, so this is very important. Now we are only checking on accuracy. You can check on the robustness and you can check on this. It will use a score like a bed score to give this information. Okay, let me go to the next one on the demo. So before selecting the model, right, we have to do all those things. We checked the prompt and we checked the prompt in the catalog. Then we did a model evaluation. Okay, now we have selected the model. We have a small use case to build. I have a small UI I built for it, and I'm going to post an input, and the API gateway is to take the response, and we build a Lambda function which will call the Bedrock model and give you back the response. This is a very simple POC application you are doing it. Just think like it's a t-shirt size of XS. Okay, how you can build it? You can use the AWS CDK or a SAM template or Terraform or CloudFormation to do it. CloudFormation, SAM, I will, this serverless application model, I consider both as the same. So you can use this technique to do that. I have made a end line by line instruction how to build it. Okay, so I from the SAM build, I have all the code is also here. You can take this code and it will deploy the application. Okay, if you want, you can create a SAM template and it will create a zip file. Okay, here you follow this instruction, you can build it end to end. And from the API gateway, you can give you a response. You can ask the question and it'll give you a response to the API gateway. What, why is it very important to do this using a CI/CD manner in the SAM template manner? Because you can change your logic, you can change your prompting, everything on your model, but you can continuously do the development. You can just, if you have multiple complex use case, you can take out this model, a single Lambda function and put a step function, which will do multiple tasks for you. But we have to do the deployment, build and do the deployment via code. Infrastructure as a code is very much important if you want to do the here. Here we are talking about FMOps. We already have foundation model. We are leveraging within our application. How are we doing it effectively? Okay. Next one. Here, what are the personas involved? We have an app team who build your application. I've just given a simple Lambda function calling the Bedrock, but you can apply the same thing with a lang chain or anything. And you who have a UI team who build a UI, and we have a prompt engineering team who build a catalog and evaluate the result before starting this. And we have business owners, of course, who given you the use case where you build a product. Okay, so when you build an application using for the generative AI, you need to understand the personas involved. Here, I'm not done any of the large coding or not much use any of the service. I use a SAM template and simple API and a Lambda function build application. Anybody interested, you can go ahead and check on this block. You can do it end to end. Now comes the use case of leveraging a RAG. What is a RAG? Okay, so we call it as a retrieval augmented generation, as we have discussed at the LLM journey. We did a okay. The second step is RAG. So first thing in a RAG step is data ingestion. The data can be in a text format or Excel format or in even a, since we are talking about large language model, it can be in your it can be in a it mostly in a text format, but in generals, you can it can be even in a image format also. The data ingestion, the first step, what does it do is it take all your data, use the embedding model. We have seen there are two embedding models. I think it's more than two now. So we can use the embedding model um, like a knowledge base. Sorry, you can use embedding model like a Titan, or you can Titan embedding model, which convert your text to the vector and store the vector into the vector database. Okay, that is the first task. Okay, yes. And when you give a user input, okay, imagine you have created your PDF document which is related to your application documentation. You converted everything into the you feed using an embedding model and store in a vector database. Then in a user input, if they're asking your question, let's say, give me a functionality of your application using this particular SDK. What does it do? It take the input. Again, it will use the same embedding model and check it in a vector database, what is relevant to that particular input, add a context to it, and send a and send the input to the large language model with the user input plus the additional context. So the large language model have a clear context information, so it will generate that response to the end user. So this is a data ingestion flow. It's a text generation flow. If in a data ingestion flow, you can see data source can be in any format. It can be in a database, or it can be in a S3, or it can be your Confluence data, whatever I mentioned. Okay. So first thing you do is it chunk it, use the embedding model, write it to the vector store. This is the first part. Okay. When text generation, user give an input, it again use the embedding model, same embedding model, and check it from the vector store and give additional context, user input, additional context. The prompt will be augmented with both the information, send us an input to the large language model, where the large language model generate the text based on your prompt information, which is augmented with the additional context from the vector, your vector store, and generate you the response. This will reduce the amount of hallucination, and you can incorporate your internal data. Okay, incorporate your internal data. Okay. So now same thing, I'm using the same lambda function. Now I can use the Bedrock knowledge base. Bedrock knowledge base is a end-to-end RAG architecture managed service provided by the Bedrock. You no need to do anything. We are going to see that in a demo also. We just select the right vector store, select your data source, and it will automatically do the indexing and store to the vector database. Okay. Here, um, if you are building an application, you can use something called retrieve and generate API. So it will get the prompt information and it use the Bedrock API, and it will generate the content and send it back to the response. So even you can programmatically also do it. Okay. So same technique, you can do it using a CDK. For this use case, you can use something called Generative AI CDK. I have not used it on multiple places, but I started exploring it. So if anybody who is going to start their building their application for the generative AI, highly recommend them to use it. That it is you can use your Python or your core skill set, core programming selection of the programming language, and you can easily build your application. They already given a multiple constructs. Okay, so this is with a Bedrock with a knowledge base. Now here we have a same amount of personas involved, but we need a data team because the data will be in unstructured format. The data can be in multiple places. So they need to, if it is a data source you are giving as AS3 data, so you need to prepare your data, transform your data, and store it into the S3 bucket. So you need to work with the multiple data owners. If you're working in an enterprise organization, you need to work the data which is in a data lake and store it and retrieve those data and convert into the right format and store it in a S3 bucket. So in this use case, we need to involve the data engineering team. So we are now it is a little bit bigger complex use case, say three size of yes. Before do the demo, I'll touch upon the agents. What is agent? Now we are it will use a technique of React. So it will take a reason and act upon. You give a prompt, the large language model will understand the input and it will take that input, some chunk into the multiple small task, and each task it will take action. Let's say you are you are creating a application um, to for checking the claims. Currently, what you end up in doing, you need to log into the portal. You need to build an application. You have a data where you have all the claims informations are there. Okay, so if you want to build it, you need to build a portal. You need to take an input logic from the users, and then you need to whenever the people are giving a request, you need to check the request, parse the request, and based on the conditions you go take the data from you need to take input from your database and send a response. But using agent, what we can do is we can create the action group. It will be API schema. We are not coding anything, we just giving the API schema, and we are connecting to the using a lambda function. You can have multiple data sources. Okay, it can be your policy docs or claim processing docs, anything. And when you are giving input, it will take the prompt information, understands if you're asking question like give me the claim information as well as process the information, it will take that in a prompt. It will check which API it need to invoke based on the understanding of the task, and it invoke the API, get the results, and send back to you the response. Okay, so this is the agent. We are going to see the agent also as part of the demo. So again, it is little complex if you are orchestrating with the agent. We are same thing, but example, you can take action like a book a flight. Of course, you need to have human in a loop, but you can take this action. It will call the third party API to take an action. Okay. So this is a little complex use case. Here, you no need additional team involved, but of course, your business owners will give you information. The GenAI team need to create a agentic open API, the open API structure. You need to build it for that. Okay. So we are going to touch upon the demo for knowledge base and Bedrock. Okay. Let me go here. So here I'm going to the AWS knowledge base. It is not opening. Okay, we'll see it later. Okay, I'm in a Bedrock. We have completed the chat. Now let's go to the knowledge base. So what you have to do is you just click on a knowledge base, say AWS GenAI demo 01. So you can use a multiple data source. This is a currently recently added. From last week it is added. You can add it to any data source. Let's say if you're all your documentation on the Confluence, you can select the Confluence. But for my better use case, I'm just using a S3 bucket, and I need to give you the path. And you can have a chunking strategy also. You can give it. Okay, let me go to a holiday resort list. So Blueway Holiday is one small mock-up information, a travel booking company, which given multiple resort informations are whatever the resource they can able to book. They give it in Excel sheet. We are selecting this. Next, I talk about the embedding, right? So you can use the text embedding to convert your text into the vector. We have multiple versions. This is the latest version. This is the old version. I mentioned about the multilingual. If it is a multilingual, different lingual, I prefer you guys to use embedding from the Cohere. Then vector database. So you can choose a vector. If you're clicking by default, it will create an open search vector database. But if you are not, if you want a third party, you can use your Amazon Aurora. By default, this is a vector engine for open search will be created, or you can use the MongoDB or Pinecone or Redis. For my use case, I plan to use the Pinecone. So if you look at, I already created, if you look at it, I'm already created this one. So Blue Wave Holiday Travel Agent, and it will connect with the internal data. These are all my data source. If you look at it, the data sources from S3 bucket. Okay. These are the data source we have. Synthetic data information. So I mentioned one is about the customer testimony. Another document is about the resort information. Okay. Then we have a vector database. This is the vector database I'm using. Okay, so which converted the data and store it. If anybody interested, I can show you the vector database also. Okay. So I created a vector database. Okay, I think I'm created in a different account. I will show that also for you. But I prefer you guys to show that so that you will understand. So people who are planning to use a default version, make sure that you are having eye on your. So you can see this is the data. It is chunk it and store it. If you look at it, it will have the source information. This is the source and this is the text. Okay, it will convert the text and it will have a vector information. Okay, so it chunked the data and kept here. Okay, so let's dive into our use case. Okay, now after this, how am I going to test it? Okay, so generate response with the knowledge base. Without knowledge base, I'm checking it. Tell me about Blue Wave holidays and give some customer testimonial. I'm giving this information. Now I'm not using a knowledge base. If you look at it, I'm not using a knowledge base. See, oh, sorry, I have to just to select the model first. I'm selecting the Claude. Okay, I'm giving that same information. So it is going to first, we already did this task as I mentioned in the RAG. We did this task, taken the data which is on S3, chunked it and use the embedding model and store it into the vector database. Now I'm giving a input. What is it doing is it is taking a response and it is giving the information. See, it is also giving a testimonial. Okay, and it is giving you where is the source it is coming from, which is very important when you are enterprise. If the data is coming from certain location, let's say if you are using your Confluence for your use case, so look at it, it will give you the each source chunk, each chunk, it will give you data, which S3 bucket, which file it is referring to. Okay. So it is coming from both the file, customer information. Okay. So this is another information. Same thing, it is coming from the multiple. So you can, if you're loading multiple data from the S3 bucket, it will give you which object it is taken from. So this is a knowledge base. So here we are not done anything. we are just used our uh, AWS knowledge base to create the complete end-to-end rack architecture without doing any of the coding. But if you want to do it with your application, right, you have to use an API call. Let's say in this architecture we are talking about. This is architecture we are talking, right? This is architecture we are talking. Oh, sorry, Bedrock with a knowledge base. This is architecture if you are talking with a knowledge base. It is going fast. You need to use programmatically called retrieve and generate API, okay, which you can use within your Lambda function to do this one. See, queries the knowledge base and generate a knowledge based on the response. So if you are in a bed, you already have created the knowledge base. If from the Lambda function, you can use this particular API and give you your prompt and it will connect your knowledge base and get you the response. Okay. So good. So far, so good. Now come to the agents. Let me come to the agents. Okay, Blue Wave Holiday agent. Same thing. Here, how I created an agent is create an agent. Okay. And after creating an agent, you need to have your Open API schema. So here you select the model and give the instruction what this agent is going to do. And now they recently announced the memory option, which it live within your, if we are exposing this as an application, they will keep whatever the conversation happened between the end user, it will be on a memory. Okay, this is recently used. I have created the agent already. I will walk you through that in interest of time because I have a few more things to cover. So click here. I already created an agent. In this agent, there is edit in agent builder. Yeah. So this is the agent. I am using your, I'm telling this model saying that your agent that assess customer with the Blue Way holidays, retrieve customer details like customer ID and preference based on their name. Then check the knowledge base for the resort information and customer testimony, generate the response for the result. So this is so I created a instruction for the agent. Okay. Then I connected with the knowledge base. Then I created action group. See if you click on the knowledge group, this is very important. You will end up in defining the schema structure. So I have given the schema structure. It will say get result info. Okay, these are all just to open API schema information. Get customer testimonial as one more API. Send a notification is another notification. This is it. See, these are all the actions. Okay, we enabling the actions by action group. You can have multiple actions also. So, and I connected with the knowledge base. In real time, if you are building an application, you want to make sure that you want to live within your knowledge base rather than checking on internet. You can live within your the whatever the knowledge base I have created. I'm using within the context. Now, if I ask, can you give me the recent booking from customer ID 001? It will not be there, but and let me check. So the input is asking for the recent booking information for the specific customer. However, none of the function provided allow access. So it is not able to do it. Now I'm changing that information. This is a little complicated on navigating here and asking the question. Give me the customer testimonial from India. I'm asking this question. Okay, sorry, I think it is not binded with the knowledge base properly. Okay, here. Craft. Okay. Okay, see, this is the okay, that is correct. Okay. Give me the list of resorts from Blue Wave holidays can be booked from holidays. So it's supposed to use the knowledge base. Now it is using the knowledge base. You see there is a request going on. It will tell which open API. My God, sorry, I don't know why it is not trying. Input is a list of that can be booked through Bowie. This seems a reasonable request for them. Okay, so but this is a concept. Okay, I think I need to check. Okay, it is check. You see this knowledge base, right? It is calling the knowledge base. It is action group is asking the get result info. Yeah, it is working. So something and it invoked the lambda function. So it is missing the result name in the missing the argument result name. Yeah, it's supposed to be in a certain format. Okay, and it is so this it will connect with orchestration and it'll give you the response. So you can do the completed tracing via agent. So you can do the end-to-end booking also via this agent. This is a second use case I want to show you. So, results. Okay, let's make a very simple prompt. It was working. I was testing around. I can retrieve the details. See, so the traces. Now it is working. Okay, so it will ask what are the resort information needed. Now I say, give me list of rooms from Hard Rock and this. It is asking name of a specific resort you are looking for. Okay, maybe give me more information on this. So it is pre-processing. It is using the knowledge base. There's something wrong with the Lambda function. I'll troubleshoot later. But this is about the agent. Yeah, this is a problem while I'm doing the live demo. So far so good. Now we have to do the fine tuning. Okay. So now you have all the requests, all the we have touched upon the RAG and we touched upon the use case about using agent. Now we need to fine tune the model. AWS provide the easy way to fine tune. All you need to do is just label your data and do the hyperparameter tuning and run the inference. So there are two techniques. One is fine tuning the data and another one is the continuous data. The simple example for the fine tuning I could say is if you have your own uh, set of document which you have a categorized as you have 5 6 categories, and you have one set of document, and you're categorizing those document and label those document with that particular categories, and which you feel like the current model whatever you are using is not able to solving your purpose, you can fine tune the model. But the challenge is not all the models can be fine tunable. Only few models can be fine tunable. Okay, and fine tuning the model is a very complex process if you are doing by yourself. But using AWS Bedrock, you can do it in quick manner. So you can come to the base model. So, okay, custom model, create a model, create a fine tune model. You select the model. As I mentioned, not all the models are available for that. Let's take an example of this one. This is little out of legacy model. Take a simple model like text generator. Apply. Then you need to find it. Okay, fine tuned LLM model, Amazon Titan. Then you give a job name, job 001 001. And if you want to your data, if it is an S, mostly you will keep it in S3. If you are using S3 endpoint, you can make sure that it is going very secure, and you can do the hyperparameter changes, learning rate, and where you want the model to be stored. Okay, so only the whatever the output of the model will be, whatever the model validation outputs will be stored in the particular S3 bucket. Okay, and you won't uh, that particular model nobody can access. It will live within your network, within your infrastructure, because this model is trained on your own proprietary data. Okay, so if you just click on fine tune job, it will take some time. It will train the fine tune the model. Okay. This is about fine tuning the model. There is another thing called continuous pre-training the model. Same thing, but the data you don't need to label it. If you look at it, your data you don't need to label it. You this is a domain specific model. Okay. You just feed that model. It will learn from the corpus of the text, which should be a take an example. We are going to touch upon some use case related to the continuous fine tuning model also. Okay. So this is a use case which is a larger size. Okay. So here we want to fine tune the model for analyzing the financial statement using AWS Bedrock and the processes to integrate multiple teams because everybody have a play role to play here, and we will extract the important metrics from that particular document. Okay, here we need to work on the data collection, processing the data, and we need to do the fine tuning, and we need to do the evaluation, and we need to plan to use the end-to-end workflow. This is the best practices of the LLM. Okay, here let me start with the first task. So the real-time data can be come from say Firefox, or it can be coming as a CSV file, or it can be offline data which is taken from the data base to the ETL and store it in the S3 bucket. So the data is stored here. Okay, then we create an event bridge. Okay, where the it we are convert invoking the API gateway and the Lambda function in order to fine tune the data. So this is the S3 bucket, the same S3 bucket you can denote here. And we are using AWS Bedrock fine tuning technique and fine tune the model and store it into the fine tune the model and ready for the consumption. At the same time, the data scientist, here we have a data scientist role who is working on the fine tuning the data because it need a data engineering knowledge, okay, as other data. Then you are indexing the same data, whatever you are doing, into the vector database also. We have seen this one. Okay, you can use the embedding model, which we have shown in this one. We can use the knowledge base also, or you can run a Python function under the SageMaker pipeline. What does it do is it will read the data from S3 bucket and convert into the vector and store it to the vector database. We are using a knowledge base before because it's a manager service. But if you want to do it in a coding manner or from your enterprise application, you can do it. So first is loading the data. Second task is about the model preparation, where we fine tune the model. At the same time, we will hydrate the vector database using your real data. Okay. The third task is where the infrastructure team who build the complete infrastructure, okay, which complete infrastructure via code, which store the code in the code build and code pipeline. Okay. So inside that we have the stack API gateway and the Lambda function. We have seen this in a miniature version in our XX. Now you can do it in a larger scale, okay? And you can deploy your Fargate application. And this is the UI. We upload the PDF file and it will Fargate job will launch and it will use a RAG architecture, load this particular PDF file into the vector database and share you the response. This fine-tuning task will be scheduled frequently, let's say every week or every month, which have the corpus of the data, whatever the people uploaded from their UI, it have a corpus of the data will be fine-tuned in a periodical manner and update the recent version. So the complete pipeline, right? This complete thing you can infrastructure as a code. So that is very important if you're building a application using a um, if you want to build an application for the enterprise, you need to make sure that you are using infrastructure as a code and do the end-to-end option. So here also, I mentioned in a very small manner. In a big enterprise, we have a data resides in a different account. We have a model tuning, everything will be done on a different account. We have application exist on a different account, and end-to-end will be managed by a code pipeline. And some places we will use a SageMaker model, which I was sort of showing you, which is a single click, you can do the deployment. Okay. So we will consume the custom models also. We will consume the model under the Bedrock also. So complete end-to-end flow can be managed using a Bedrock itself. So here, uh, we have a multiple teams involved on it. We have a GenAI app team who is develop the user interface. Okay. And we have created the GenAI app team who uh, get the response from the UI and process that PDF file or whatever the content will be in the financial statement, and we will store this information in a vector store. So the GenAI app team will take care of this one, and the business owner will define the business function, okay, how we need to look like. The platform team who build the end-to-end the infrastructure as a code, as well as fine tuning the model and make sure the data is stored in S3 in a secured manner. Okay, and monitor the model, CloudWatch metrics, everything is monitored. And the model team, who is done by our data scientist, uh, okay, they will take care of doing the extracting the information from the financial statement, understand it, how it need to be processed, how it need to be stored, what kind of information we can gather from that. Those things will be done by our model team. And the data team, who will be trained that load the data from the multiple sources and make sure the data is in a secured and available manner. So we have multiple teams involved on it. Okay. So we have seen how to build a small application to the enterprise application. Make sure we follow the best practices, leveraging all the AWS best practices. Okay. So along that, few areas I want to touch upon is the guardrail. Okay, we have a guardrail. Why the guardrail is very important is uh, you can create a guardrail. You can do the content filter and you can deny the topics, word filter, and if you have a sensitive information, it will mask the sensitive information. And there's a new thing which is announced here, which is a contextual ground check. Whatever the data you given input, it makes sure it is living within your data context check. Okay, so here there is a knowledge base. I will do some demo on it. Okay, go here, select the model. We have seen this one before. Let's say Amazon text. I'm asking, give me two testimonial from Blue Wave holidays. So It is giving me the information. Okay, so far so good. Okay, it is given information about Jake Wilson. Okay, tell me more about Jake Wilson. Okay, I'm asking what is the salary of Jake Wilson? So it is giving a salary. Great. Can you share his email ID of Jack Wilson? Look at it. So it is giving you all information. Okay, so if you enable your enterprise data and if you're exposing without a proper guardrail, you end up in sharing. So now what am I doing is I created a guardrail. Okay, now I applied this. Okay, now let's clear it. Same question we will ask. Okay, give me testimonial from customer on Blue Wave holidays. To testimony. Okay, fantastic. It not even tell the name. Okay, so that is the power of guardrail. There is a multiple way you can do the guardrail. Okay, we will have a detailed discussion some other time about the guardrail in a brief manner. So that's all I want to show you for today. So guys, hope you guys learned about what is Bedrock, what are the models available, and how to build a small application, and what are the best practices need to follow. And if you're building enterprise application, what all things need to be considered. So that's all from me. You can connect with me. This is my LinkedIn. You can scan and connect with me. And this is my a forum where I will share my learnings and my knowledge. Thanks, guys. Thanks for staying tuned for the long time, and hope you guys enjoyed the session.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really a very great session. Especially, we learned a lot about foundational models and large language models using Bedrock, and the demo was really nice. I hope uh, our participants would have learned too much from this. Your expertise has greatly enhanced our understanding of these complex topics. So, and the practical hands-on experience with this AWS SageMaker and Bedrock was particularly valuable. Thank you so much. So, um, lastly, like I have a question. Like as you are the co-organizer of AWS UG Bangalore, would you share some insights on the like significance of the community and the engagement? So your mic is off.
So the communities, right? It's not
Yeah.
more about the organizer or who is organizing or which location we are organizing. First thing, the community exists for that particular region. So people who have a common interest, they gather around and share, they learn from the speakers. At the same time, their questions and their input and feedback will empower the speakers in more information. One is about the topic selection. We run every month a theme, and we will bring out good speakers on the industry, and we will make sure they are working in a real time solving the business problem. Okay. The second thing is about the networking. People who met on the meetup, our meetup, became a long-time friend, even a family friend, because they share a lot of common interest. If anybody taking the time out on the weekend, crossing the Bangalore traffic and coming to the meetup, that means they have a real passion. So people who come there also have the same passion. Okay, that thing. The third thing is very important as a student. People who are working in a college, they turned up to the meetup and they really find it very valuable and they learn a lot. They will have a takeaway. And because the 20 years experience guy will not have that much time to do the coding, but the college goers, they have fresh ideas, fresh problem to solve, and they have fresh paradigm of looking at the problem. They will come, they will benefit. Sometimes even the challenges, why do we have this service? Why not we have like this? So these are the three big takeaways from the meetup. So every place I will look for this in all the user group, and we are doing a great job. AWS user groups.
And you also mentioned about certifications. So can you tell us?
Okay. Certification is good. It's important. Okay. So it depends on what phase of your career you are in. Imagine you are studying in a college and you never worked on anything real time. You are going through the videos, you are learning a lot without much real hands-on or not trying by yourself. Doing a certification doesn't make any sense for me. Okay. But you are being in a college or you are a working professional, you're doing a lot of hands-on. Go to the AWS workshop, find out your area of interest, start with the level 100, do at least 5, 6 labs, and get master on the labs. Okay. And talk to the meta people and gather the new problem statement and see how, with your knowledge, you can solve the problem. Then you are able to solve the problem halfway or 75 percentage, then I think you are ready. You can sit, prepare for exam, and pass a certification. Now you have a knowledge, you have a certification, you have a real-time experience. I always feel this is more important. I don't prefer the certification. So
Yeah,
anybody who are
that's
interested in a certification, follow this. Understand the exam guide. Go to the particular exam, understand the exam guide. Then follow through the AWS documentation, do the AWS workshop, do the hands-on, talk to the meetup, check on the reinvent videos, then prepare for exam, sit for it. You can go ahead and check on my blogs. I have written this in a detailed manner on what is my journey of finishing all AWS certifications.
yeah, that's right. And I hope people should will do these certifications for sure.
Anybody who are interested in doing certification, need a mentorship, feel free to reach out to me. I'll share best of my knowledge.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable time.
Thanks, team. Okay, have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you, sir.